Hello, Cancer, and welcome to your January forecast. This is, of course, for January 2026 in the new year. We have Apollo. I know all of you love to see him. He's in the background resting. We have a lot to talk about today, so let's get started. I always like to begin with channeled messages. And by the way, before I get into that, we are going to be doing a 2026 year at a glance, which means I'll be pulling 4 extra cards, looking at the 4 quarters. That also means that the extended forecast will be slightly abbreviated, but all parts of the reading will be present. And this will be just for 1 month. Many of you like the 1 month versus 2, so I do listen. All right, channeled messages. So in dreams and in meditation, there were some wild things that came through. The first thing was kind of like the 2 of Wands, if you will, because I was looking at someone holding the entirety of their life, their whole world, but it wasn't like a globe. It was like they were looking at moments of their life and it was all in their hands. And when you're looking from afar, it was almost like what would happen in a life review. Everything seems sometimes smaller than it was at the moment. And there might be other things where it's like, oh, I should have focused on that more. So there was beautiful perspective coming through. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't forget to drink in the moments that matter. And as you start to strategize for what's important in this new year, really think about what is it that has brought you joy over this, somewhat tumultuous 2025. And what is it you want to do a little bit more of? Drink in those moments. I was also shown fiber optics, which for me, it's just a symbol in my own sort of dream mentality and meditation, where it represents the speed with which things can move. So what I'm seeing here is if you speak something into existence right now, it has a chance of really taking root quickly. Like you might see quicker progress than you imagined, saying like, oh, I'm interested in this, or I want this, or even just expressing your thoughts to someone else. The results are pretty quick, and take effect pretty quickly, I was going to say. So don't underestimate the power of your action, your words, and also, again, the importance of having some intention behind what you're going to do next, because going back into the 2 of Wands sort of symbology, it's really important to have a vision, okay? The other thing here was a reboot. So this is a somewhat technical thing to come through, but in addition to seeing like fiber optics and energy moving quickly, I also saw a need to reboot and simplify. So I think the overarching message for January is what's important, what isn't, how can I reduce what isn't and simplify, and then do a bit of a reboot so that I'm focusing on a new program that is clear of the clutter that I had previously, right? These are the things you should be thinking about. And I think if you do that, you're set up for success. So I'll take a look at the cards now, and we'll see where some of these synchronicities might sort of make an appearance, and then also what else wants to come through. Thanks again for joining. Let's get started. Please take a moment and close your eyes. Imagine that the sun is shining directly overhead, warming up your crown chakra, creating a perfect circle of light around your body. Within this space, you are safe, you are connected to Source, and please bring in your angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. All right, let's get started with a fantastic catalyst in the form of the butterfly. Interestingly enough, there's been a theme around metamorphosis that I've seen in a few signs coming through for the month of January, but you're the first sign that actually got the butterfly itself. And this portends good things because the butterfly, of course, is the final phase in that metamorphosis. You have the caterpillar, chrysalis, then butterfly. So the important thing here is a door or a window of opportunity could be opening and you don't want to second guess yourself. Spread your wings and fly. Open that door with that sense of confidence and say, I'm ready. Okay? That's the first message that's coming through. This is also a card of change. So in order to lean into a possibility, you may have to change up the way that you work, or you might have to just kind of get out of your comfort zone a bit. But what we see here with the butterfly is it's absolutely worth it, and this is a really great way to start things off. Before I even get into the Celtic Cross, right here on the side, this is Health, Wealth, and Love. In the energy of love, we have a card that mirrors the butterfly, all about transmutation. So there may be new developments in relationships this particular month. So we'll definitely talk more about that when we get to relationships, but I wanted to highlight that direct connection. Why don't we start off with the center card, Five of Cups. So this card usually comes through when you're processing emotions. The reversal of it portends good things because it can show that you're starting to let go of some grief, maybe some frustration, but nonetheless, we can see that there's still a little bit of work to be done. This might be a great time to find like a creative outlet for certain emotions, or to talk to a friend or a counselor, whatever really works best for you. Let me look at the traditional card here for a moment because I think it tells the story a little bit better. So here we can clearly see that energy of release, of grief. And again, the 3 cups that are spilled, the 2 cups that are upright. This is why I mentioned leaning on the support of a friend, a colleague, or a professional. It really helps kind of help you through this. And what we see with this is that troubled water flowing away and a bridge that's helping you get to greener pastures. So you're right on that sort of edge of something amazing happening, but sometimes you have to even just don't be so hard on yourself. This card can be the difficult time we give ourselves for making a mistake, maybe something not going the way that we wanted, and the universe is coming through and saying it's going to be all right. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, or a silver lining, okay? There's no right or wrong amount of time to spend in the energy of grieving or just sort of like release, but we do see even here that crow coming through and saying, come on, let's see what we can do to help ease this or give you a different perspective. Crossing that card, we have the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands represents a new idea that's waiting for you to take it to the next level. So obviously, the emotional component is going to be something that is either going to weigh you down or lift you up. Once you get to the energy of possibility, the 2 cups in the background, that's when things get exciting. Then we have Page of Wands coming through with a sense of vitality, vibrancy, I should say, and then this newfound sort of perspective. The question with the page here is, are you ready to take the next step? Pages are communicative. They are curious, they research, they get out there, and they ask, why not, or how? And that's really the question Spirit's presenting to you. Why not try this now, and how are you going to execute it? It's giving you a little bit of homework for whatever it is that you're trying to set forth and allow for this sort of butterfly energy to come through in January. So there's a lot of potential, but self-care is important first. Emotional and mental well-being is important, of course. I would say first and foremost, and then you can kind of access that beautiful Page of Wands energy. As we take a look here at the deep past, we have the 8 of Swords in reverse. This is about opening your heart, opening your mind to new things. But first, we have to get kind of unstuck. So this particular illustrator chose to show the spider web here. Sometimes we can get wrapped up in other people's fears, anxieties, or expectations. This can come from a friend who may hear something that you're going to do, and then they kind of throw out this sense of, uh-oh, are you sure you're ready? And you were fine before talking to them, and then all of a sudden, their fears kind of interfere with your vision. So hold fast to your vision. Don't get wrapped up in someone else's fears, anxieties, or expectations. That's message number 1. For the second message, let's take a look at a Rider-Waite-Smith derivative card here. We have someone here with blindfolds, and there's all of these swords around them. This happens when, I call this basically the prison of thought, when we think ourselves into a corner. And it can be sort of these very restrictive thoughts where you imagine that I have to do this before this happens, or I'm not this enough. experienced enough, good enough, pretty enough, or whatever for something to happen. And it's basically your own belief system, rather, that is getting in the way of possibilities. So this card also presents a question, which is, why not? Why can't I have this? Why don't I give it a shot? Okay. And you can always, in this card, just take the blindfolds off or loosen up the ties that we see there and walk forward. Eight of Swords is typically a self-imposed block. And the universe is encouraging you just to get over this feeling that something has to happen at a certain time, with a certain person, in a certain shape, form, etc. Why not try something different? And also, just like the Two of Swords, if you haven't seen something happen, that doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just means that the timing hasn't been right yet. So open your mind to the possibilities. Release any of the sort of trapping thoughts that someone else might put out there, trying to get you kind of caught up in their own way of thinking. And then also release this sort of illusion that something isn't going to happen. That in and of itself can often stop the progression of a synchronicity or an opportunity. So just take a deep breath, keep an open heart, keep an open mind, and allow yourself to move into something new. In the recent past here, we have the Five of Pentacles. One of the biggest opportunities and challenges in January is to make sure that you don't sell yourself short. So if there's someone in your life that consistently takes more than they give, this is a moment to stand up for yourself and say, this isn't good enough. If you have been struggling with issues of self-confidence or self-worth, really work on that feeling of being worthy and ready for more. You don't have to necessarily know exactly what that's going to look like at the beginning of January, but just knowing that you're worth it, that you're worth more, and you're ready will start to open up doors for you. Take very special care of your health. Five of Pentacles can come through when we are working ourselves to the point of exhaustion. And a lot of times, especially when I'm reading in the winter, like for the Northern Hemisphere, it can just be the cold, flu, etc. But it still takes you out for the count, and you really don't want to do that. We don't see it in this illustration, but it can also represent issues with the lower extremities, like the leg, the ankle, and the foot. So when you're walking outside, be careful, especially, again, if it's slippery with the rain, snow, or sleet. And in doing that, you're going to be able to hopefully avert the crutches that we normally see on this card. Finally, this is a card where there are typically two people that are having a hard time communicating. Two wounded people. Actually, here, I have the traditional card. So if there's been someone in your life that just can't come through in the way that you need it, know that they're probably going through their own things as well. Don't take it to heart. Sometimes people give the best that they can, and even if it's not enough for you, maybe that's all that they have. So this, again, is a moment for you to decide if that's not enough, then let them be and allow yourself to move into a path where you can find people and opportunities that are on the same level and can be there in the way that you need it, okay? In the crowning position here, we have a really refreshing take on the Ten of Swords. So from a mental perspective, this is you, hopefully, getting over the fear of failure. We see someone here, if we pull it in the upright position, starting to break free from those shackles, removing themselves from the pain, from the fear of pain. And if we look at this traditional card, one of the interpretations of the Ten of Swords can be failure. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to move forward because there is this oftentimes completely unfounded belief that if I don't do it right, that's going to be worse than not trying. And the truth of the matter is, when you're up in soul review at the end of your days on this planet, you will be so much happier for giving something a try than not trying. Because what if you succeed? What if you learn something amazing? What if you are better than you think? This card goes to the worst case scenario, whereas this version of it says, I think I'm stronger than I might imagine. There's still a little bit of release and relief that you need to do from kind of holding on to the past, but it's there. The potential is there to surprise yourself. And even if we look at the traditional illustration, there is a new day that is dawning in the background. Whatever pain from the past might still be sort of lingering in your energy, this card is saying there's nowhere to go but up. It's definitely worth trying, and you're stronger than you think. You survived. You're here. You're here right now. Never underestimate your strength, and don't sell yourself short. This is the self-confidence piece coming through from the Five of Pentacles. You're worthy, you're strong, and you can do this. That's like the pep talk that your guides, angels, and sort of higher self is coming through and channeling through me. So I hope I'm doing a good job of giving you that sort of pep that you need, because it feels like, especially as I look at the rest of these cards, that you're headed in the right direction. As we look at the near future here, we have basically a nudge from Spirit also to not overthink. Queen of Wands is a natural innovator. She has great instincts, she's very creative, and she's good at basically managing things. When she's in reverse, sometimes she second guesses her own instincts or she thinks too much. So this is a month where your actions are very important. And this is basically connecting to the Page of Wands, where it's saying, what are you going to do to bring this to the next level? Don't think so much. Trust yourself. Go more into muscle memory. This can also be a person in your life that could be presenting a block because they're rigid in what they expect. And if there's constantly that rigidity, no matter what you do, it's a bit of a wake-up call that, they're just not open to allowing you to change and spread your wings, getting back to the butterfly. And we looked at the relationship energy this month. I was talking about the transmutation and this rising above. If you can't change it, if you can't move through it, you might have to move past it and move in a new direction. The Queen of Wands in reverse is also encouraging you to focus on taking care of yourself. So sometimes she's a Mrs. Fix-It. She tries to help everybody else, but at the end of the day, she's so kind of like depleted that she doesn't have enough for herself. So in your life this month, don't worry if people are making mistakes and not listening to your advice. You focus on you and continue to create a nice firm foundation. Leave the door open if they want your advice. If they don't, so be it. You've got a lot of magic that you can bring forth this month. Don't waste your time, don't waste your breath, and don't second guess yourself. Now, as we look at you, one of the best possible cards in the deck came through, and it's the World. This is a month for expansion, moving up, moving on, moving out. This card is connected with distribution. It's a spotlight card. It's a moment where things are finally starting to go in the right direction. You may also be looking at traveling or exploring or delivering something. So all of the cards that we've been talking about previously, where there were blindfolds or there was doubt or there was less than enough, that's why I was like, don't pay them much mind. Because when I look at the card that represents you, it's only expansion, it's only good things. So I think one of the big opportunities as we're looking at January is not to let yourself get in the way of yourself when it comes to fears or overthinking. You may be looking at possibly relocating as well. So keep that in mind when it comes to career opportunities or just general growth opportunities as well. All right. In the environment, we have a card that is connected with success. Here we have the Seven of Wands, and the person is learning. You can see her right here. She's putting her hand up and saying, wait a second. She's laying down some boundaries. The card that is right before this is Six of Wands, which is success. The card right after this is one that shows progress. So in between those two is this pivotal card where you have to basically lay down the law and say what you want, what you don't want, to delegate and to work smarter, not necessarily to the point of exhaustion, not just harder. And the traditional card, you see someone here that is a little bit more defensive. And if you look at their face, just a little bit more stressed out. She's not. So look at these two juxtaposed. So the traditional card shows a lot more discomfort. She's just saying, nah, I don't think so. And when it comes to putting your boundaries down, sometimes that's what's needed, is a firm, clear sense of what you want and don't want without over-apologizing and without being afraid. All right, let's take a look at hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have the Nine of Wands. This is a card of nearly being at the finish line. And we can see someone here that's just getting to the top of the hill. Don't give up. In the traditional cards, sometimes you'll see a bandage around the person's head. So sometimes we are just feeling fatigued when this card is pulled. So towards the middle or end of January, you may be reaching that point where you're thinking, can I do it? When is this going to happen? And the Nine of Wands comes through to remind you just how hard you've worked and not to give up. It's basically that sort of carrot on a string saying it's worth it, okay? One thing that you can do, though, is take a break. Pace yourself. This is a long distance run. It's not a sprint. So in order to make it to the finish line, make sure that you're getting enough rest, that you're eating well, that you have the support that you need, and then you're going to be able to make it. This is also a card that it's kind of like those old Energizer Bunny commercials where it never stops going. So people may try to get in your way. They may try to, stomp you down or whatever and make it stop, but you have the capacity to keep rising up and surprising them. Your ability to change, to shapeshift, to reinvent yourself. This is your superpower. So don't underestimate that either. And then as the final card here, we have the Queen of Cups, but she's in the reverse position. Upright, this is one of the best cards because it's about your empathy, your creativity, your ability to flow with whatever's coming through, to go with the flow, I should say. As I looked at this, Spirit delivered a message which was, allow your emotions to be your fuel. You're not beholden to them. You're able to access them and transmute them. This transmutation card is so important. So is this metamorphosis here. So let's give some examples here of things that you can transmute. If you feel the energy of jealousy, you look at someone and wish you could have it, transmute it into motivation. If they did it, why can't I? What can I do that's unique and different? So you can motivate yourself. If you feel this sense of despair and you see something in the world that you don't like, create this energy around hope. What can I do to motivate other people to make this work, to make a change? And how can I access my own hope for a better tomorrow and find other people that can do the same thing? Take something that doesn't feel right and find a way to use that to affect change. Be the agent of change in something that you don't like. So the mirror that's being held up to you, that's making you feel something, it's making you feel it so you can use that emotion to better yourself or better the world. All emotions are useful, including the low frequency ones. But with the lower frequency ones, there is a need to transmute. This is where sometimes it's easier to work with someone that can help, like a therapist or a friend, to help you see the silver lining or the way through. Ultimately, this is saying also allow yourself to be as unique as you want. This is a very creative card, and sometimes we feel this sense of shyness or wanting to hold in, and she's very expressive. So it's also very important for you to be able to express yourself in this moment in time. Let's now take a look at the expanded forecast. We're going to go a little bit briefer into all of these areas. We'll start off first with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. The message for health has come up time and again, and whenever there's a repeat like that, it is something that we all have to focus on here, and it says loving kindness for difficult people. May you be filled with peace. Easier said than done. But it is about leading with this sense of, I'm not going to let you get under my skin. I'm going to try to use the energy of transmutation to figure out how to make the best of this situation. To find that peace, or to, I should say, kind of project that peace, you first are going to have to discover it yourself. Meditation is going to be very, very, very helpful here. Journaling, working with a therapist, as I've said, anything that you can do to kind of understand it from their perspective. What you've got working in your sort of like court already is the empathy that we see here, and maybe even the pain that you might have experienced. And I mentioned earlier that with the Five of Pentacles, it's often someone who has been through it themselves. They haven't had the support that they needed in their life from friends, from family, from loved ones. And as a result, they may not know how to express it, how to show it to others. So you can lead by example, okay? It's interesting that we're looking at, health, but we're getting relationship energy coming forth. So relationships may be a place where a lot of the healing is needed. Briefly looking at the other cards to see what else is coming through. So the Eight of Swords can represent seeing or hearing, and sometimes challenges with that kind of area of your body. So if you haven't gone to an ophthalmologist for a while, it might be a good time to do that, because they look at the actual eye health, not just kind of like what your glasses are, like your new prescription. They look at the actual health of your eye. Same thing, it might be time for an audiologist appointment, so don't ignore things like that in your body. Ten of Swords can be chronic pain or fatigue, and this can be specifically pointing to, like I said, your ankles and your lower extremities. So we actually have some pinpointed areas where some of you may be feeling pain or discomfort. Absolutely get that checked out if you need to. The rest of this is more emotional, and I think that's the main focus for most of us over the course of January. So this is releasing any sort of pain in your life that's like pain of loss. This can be a failure or a setback, and this is you finally getting to the point where you're really ready to let it go. Don't overthink. Sometimes we sit there and beat ourselves up and wonder, why didn't I see this? Hindsight's always 50-50. It's always easier to know after the fact. So instead, what you're going to do is focus on what's next. This is a great month for travel, and it could actually help you learn new things and just get through some of these heavier emotions that we're seeing here. This can also represent, so we have two cards connected with right around the eyes. So migraine headaches for some of you, and this could be from pressure or stress. So really take it easy. Anything that you can do that can help you with stress management, I think that would be the main focus that I'm picking up on with health. Let's move on to wealth, which is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. And it's all tied together, folks. Can't make it up. So we have the health card here reversed. I will honor the physical vessel that enshrines my soul. Amen to that. Because if you don't, you'll get to this phase, which is burnout. Because if you don't, you'll get to this, which is a feeling of being sick or run down. So two cards warning you this month with respect to your wealth, that your health has to be taken into consideration, because money without health is worthless. You're not going to be able to embrace it, okay? Some of you might be deciding to move into a healthier environment. Maybe you're actually working in something that, like an industry that helps people, like medicine, therapy, acupuncture, healing. So that's just a nod that you're doing something that's great. Move on with that, please. Go for it. Okay, other messages around wealth right now. If you're in a situation that's toxic, it might be time to move on. Or you're going to step into a leadership position, put down your boundaries, and take care of yourself. Fight for what's right. I think one of the challenges right now really kind of surrounds satisfaction. So if you're working, it's job satisfaction. If you're studying, it's like, why am I working so hard to learn this? What's the end or net result? And if you're looking for work, it's making sure that you find something that brings a sense of satisfaction. I think the big missing component here is just that. Is it enough? Is there a sense of fulfillment? If it's there, great. If it's missing, now is the time to bring greater balance in the mix. And for those that have extra time to give back, there's a great opportunity for teaching and mentorship right now. This is particularly for those of you that might be retired, for instance, okay? But what I love about this mix, doesn't matter where you're at in your career or finances, what I see here is a comeback story. So here's the overall theme when we're looking at wealth. Maybe a failure or a setback and the processing of that. Then we have like a new idea, and there is a need to just go with it. Great entrepreneurial energy coming forth here. Don't let people get into your space that are unsupportive or unimaginative, because they could hinder the ability for this to take flight. And if we get back to the butterfly, that's what it's all about. This is a month where you're really being encouraged to change things up and try new things. It doesn't matter if you're in a job, looking for a job, if you're a student, or if you're retired, you're being asked to try something different, to expand. And as long as you have that energy of change and expansion, you're on the right path. If you don't, then it's time to figure out how to stretch yourself a little bit, okay? Let's move on to love and relationships. I've been looking at this card and showing it to you the entire time. We have the Phoenix, which basically comes through after a perceived Ten of Swords moment, like the end. Then it comes right back and says, nope, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning. So this is definitely a card that is amazing for those of you that are on the heels of a breakup, or maybe had a really difficult patch in your relationship, because it shows a second chance, okay? If you're partnered, change is the name of the game. You may have gotten into the relationship with one person, but one or both of you have changed to a point now that you're either going to grow in this new role together, or you're probably going to go your separate ways. So it's moving up, moving on, moving out. There's no stasis. There's no stagnation. So if you're on that road together, perfect. But if not, then it's okay. And you will find someone that's in a better sort of, I would say, more synchronistic frequency as you are. Here are the challenges in a present situation. Let's say you want to stay together. There could be an argument that you just went through. The Ten of Swords can be spilled words. The Five of Cups can be holding on to that. The Five of Pentacles can be the hurt feelings. What we do see here is someone who keeps it to themselves. Queen of Wands will just sit there and she's stubborn and she's not going to communicate. The Queen of Cups is going to wait for an apology, but neither of these is really communicating. So it's important to possibly to change up the setting or scenery, maybe get another party involved to kind of help ease this a little bit. But ultimately, Seven of Wands, Nine of Wands, you can make it work. But there's different communication styles. And I think the challenge this month is going to be on how you can meet each other in the middle rather than expecting the other person to change completely. It's sort of like, well, if you can do a little more of this and I can do a little bit more of this, we're going to be a lot closer to communicating the way we both need without completely changing who we are. Change takes time. Growth takes time. Meet in the middle, and I think that'll help you out quite a bit. If you're single and looking, can you find love? Yes, however, there is some healing to be done first. Some of you might be really more in the fiery stage here instead of the phoenix stage, where you're working through some of the emotions from the past. And there still could be this feeling of anger, frustration, rejection, etc. Work through it first. Once you've worked through it, we have a lot of fire. So there could be a fire sign coming through. We also have a water sign. So you have choices. This person seems to be from a different either walk of life, like maybe different career, maybe different country, or just someone out of your circle of friends and family. Interestingly enough, travel could be a great way to meet that person. And I just get the sense that when you're least expecting it, that's when you bump into this person. It doesn't feel like someone that you have to seek out. It's like when you're ready, the person comes into your life. The water sign is the one that presents itself as the outcome, but you have two. Here's the thing. One comes through a little bit stubborn, but very passionate. The other one is very sensitive, but needs a lot. Might even want to get serious quicker. So make sure you're ready, because both of these are going to require a lot of time and attention from your perspective. If you're single and happy, I think it's a perfect time to be single and happy. You can put the bulk of the energy on developing new ideas. Some of you could take a break or a vacation to recharge, and from that vacation, break, or sabbatical, you'll come back with this new sense of vigor and focus. And this Page of Wands is showing that some of you are working, busy putting things together in some sort of written or perhaps even sort of like distribution-based product or service that's going to get out there into the world. And it could be something great, actually, with the World card here. So this is a really good time to focus on your career and your personal development, okay? Let's take a look at Destiny. So for this, we have higher learning coming through, and it says, you have learned from experience. I just was kind of talking about curriculum, and it's coming through. More inner study is now required to further progress. Some of you may decide to go back to school. Some of you might create a curriculum that you share with others. Some of you might be deciding to learn how to create a business or a way to kind of distribute, publish, or broadcast something. All of that is a part of this. But either teaching, learning, or mentorship, all are comprised within this. So it's a perfect time to do all of that. All right, now we're going to get into the final portion of this reading, which is a quarterly forecast. I wanted to leave a little bit of extra time to help you map out the year ahead. So let me go ahead and pull one card for each of the 4 quarters. So we'll look at Q1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, we're going to start off with Q1. In Q1, which is January, February, and March, we have the Two of Wands. So this is great, folks, because Two of Wands typically is holding the world, and you actually got the world here. So massive amount of progress and development is available to you during these first 3 months. The Two of Wands is a card of dreaming, planning, and envisioning. So if you haven't done a lot of that lately, it's time to make room in your schedule for daydreaming and for planning. You can get more done when you know what it is you're trying to do. Otherwise, you're just winging it, and sometimes you end up doing more or not enough, and there's a lack of efficiency. I'm going to pull the traditional card while we're talking. So what you want to do is continue to plan and then adjust that plan as needed. The other thing is to make room to have blue sky possibilities, sort of dreaming moments as well. So I love this because the person is looking at the globe, they're glancing out at the horizon, and they're asking themselves, how far have we come? What do we want to do next? And also, what's missing in the world? What can I do to make a difference? How can I bring in change? What can I do to make some transmutation or a difference in the world? Dreaming, then doing. And I think you could use January as the planning phase, February as that sort of comparison, and then you can start to kick things off into motion in March, okay? Let's go into Q2. For the second quarter of the year, we have the Magician. April, May, and June. This is where focus, belief, and follow through are important. And this is also where you might consistently surprise yourself. The Magician can really make things happen, and you might have a very busy schedule. The phone may ring or an email may come through, and something that you've been working on for months or years now is coming into fruition. And it's a manifestation period. And sometimes that can be exciting. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. Trust yourself, be discerning, believe, and lean into the creative process in April, May, and June. On to quarter number 3, which is July, August, and September. Take a step back and take care of yourself. We have the Empress card coming through. It is a self-care card. It's also a boss card. One thing that might also be challenged during this third quarter of the year is leadership, belief, boundaries. And when it comes to creating things or stepping into work and finance and self-development, people may come through and ask, are you sure? Why are you doing this? And this is a moment where you're going to have to find the confidence and lean into exactly what your decision-making process was and just articulate it. Never underestimate yourself. This is probably the most challenging, yet potentially one of the more rewarding chapters of the year, because when you find that you can lean on yourself and believe in yourself, you'll know that you're unstoppable. But there could be tests. I won't sugarcoat it, because this is the only reversal so far. We have one more coming up, but there could be some tests in leadership and people just saying, are you sure? The fourth quarter of the year is busy. And for many of you, Six of Swords reversed, you might be growing tired of the amount of travel that you're doing. You may also find that things are ping-ponging back and forth. There's a lot of iterative starts and stops. Normally, this is a fluid card of movement. We would normally see someone on a ship and they're using the oars to move forward. But with it reversed, it's not a clear path from A to B. You're going to zigzag a bit. You're going to start and stop. You might have to, fix things, but trust the flow and trust the process. This can also represent stagnation. So if there's someone in your life that isn't ready to take this sort of path with you, maybe this isn't the best connection. Make sure that everyone and everything that's on board is helping you get further. The traditional card shows a boat, and there's only so much baggage you can take on that boat. So be discerning in what you take with you to the next step of the journey, okay? You will get where you need to be by December, but it isn't a straight path. Don't lose focus, don't lose faith, but do let go of some things if you feel like they're anchoring you down, okay? As always, I like to end on one final question, one final card. Go ahead and ask that question to Spirit. I'm going to shuffle the cards. This is the only space I have left, and we'll see what Spirit has to say. All right. For your final question today, we have the Knight of Wands, but the card is reversed. So if you asked a yes or a no question, this is saying not yet because something doesn't align with your vision. And it's saying don't compromise. And if someone else doesn't feel the same passion as you, you deserve that passion. So pause a little bit and look around and explore. Don't compromise your passion. Don't engage with someone who isn't as excited as you. And also, we talked about overthinking. This can sometimes be overthinking. So you're almost there, but there's a need to pause. A reversed knight doesn't jump into something. They wait. They look around. They find the best possible moment, and then they move forward, okay? So almost, but not quite. That's what I'm getting with that, okay? That, my friends, brings us to the close of this reading, which is worth some confetti. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and read for you on this precipice of the new year. I appreciate it. Just a couple of quick notes. If you enjoyed this, please do me a favor. It's 100% free, but this helps. If you're a long-time lurker, but you've never actually subscribed, subscribe. If you are a long-time viewer, but you don't always hit the thumbs up, please do that. And if any part of this resonated, leave a comment. Let me know what did. It means a lot to me and it helps. You can also show some support through PayPal if you would like. The link to that is right here on screen. You can also go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com. From there, you can also find me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major social media networks. If you enjoyed this and want to become a sustaining member, why not become an actual member of the channel? It helps. And I do have perks and occasional members-only videos as well, so now's a perfect time to do that. You can also leave a sticker with your comment, and all of this goes back into helping me get the cards and supplies that I need to continue to do what I do. Thank you so much for being amazing, for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Have a very happy new year, and make sure to check out all of the daily, weekly, and monthly videos on my main channel page. From my heart to yours, thank you, and all the best.